intense, sometimes hate-filled, which is we're on course for that, competition for superiority on the playing field. Roy, that's exactly what we have today.
Duke won the coin toss and deferred. Jack Triggers sends it deep in the direction of Michael Carter into the end zone for a touchback. Beautiful day for college football. The Pac-12 is back.
The ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
And the penalty will put it at the 35. So college football is united once again. Kelly and Roy with you as always for this early start. And our first look, Kelly, at Sam Howell. But he has been electric these last couple of weeks, and so is Carolina's offense.
Yeah, Sam's advancement from year one to year two has been absolutely sensational, but he has to do a good job of managing the emotion of this game early. We'll see how that goes.
See the numbers, 14 touchdowns thrown. He's thrown a scoring strike in 19 straight. That marks second in the nation.
Was against Duke. That 15-yard penalty will be added on. First down, North Carolina.
And a busy afternoon already for our veteran officiating crew led by Dwayne Haight.
There's a lot happening on that kickoff that went out of bounds.
Well, you don't want to give Carolina better field position the way they've been in the zone recently, and they'll get it all the way up at the 50. So a personal foul, and the kick sails out of bounds. Duke Cutcliffe would like to see better start for his squad playing at home. In search, reclaiming the victory bell. Play action on first down, and Howell with the slant. Dazz Newsome has it, and a gain of 16, and already Carolina in plus territory.
Yeah, to start the game off with a run-pass option is a great way to get your quarterback, Sam Howell, settled into the decision-making part of the game.
Tar Heels off a tough loss at Virginia a week ago. Same play, same result, this time for less yardage. De'Ami Brown picks up 13 and another first down.
Run pass option on the slant to Brown. It's a zone run inside, and if that edge defender steps up to become a run supporter, then it's the slant to Brown behind that.
Quickly go the Heels. All kinds of options for Howell to the end zone. Right in front of the upright, and that pass incomplete. Emery Simmons was double covered. It was Jeremiah Lewis that was ready and waiting for Duke.
And that's a little bit of insight, and Simmons doesn't hang on to the football, but it's a couple of zone slant run pass options, and then it's a shot play, and that's what North Carolina loves to do, Roy, is they go a little bit of run game, a little bit of run pass option, and then take a lot of shots down the field.
Against the four-man front, Howell back to the air, another first down. The quick toss, De'Ami Brown off a career-high performance a week ago. 11 grabs, 240 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And it's already first and goal for Carolina. Howell, end zone, back corner and incomplete. And he overshot his intended target, De'Ami Brown.
And that's a little taste of who North Carolina is offensively currently under Sam Howell. It's the run pass option because of the decision making. Sam Howell has really taken to that part of the game, and it was the same play. It was the zone or the slant to Brown, and then you take a shot when you get that press coverage outside.
Carolina through the air, now on the ground. A-gap run, brought down at the 4-yard line. It's Michael Carter snuck through a line of scrimmage. It'll be third and goal and a gain of 5.
And Roy, today, Duke isn't going to be bashful defensively. They're a 4-2-5 team, and they trust their guys outside. They play a ton of in-your-face press man coverage out on the edges.
Big play, 90 seconds in. Play action for Howell. Surveys. Brought down just short of the goal line inside the 2. It was Chris Rump that got him. First time we've called his name today for the leader in sacks in the country so far this season.
And a big early decision in this rivalry game. And UNC is a team offensively that finishes extremely well down in the red zone. They have a ton of weapons, but remember, when the field condenses, it's hard to use those guys outside. So now you would expect North Carolina to kind of muscle up a little bit, but look for Sam Howell to get to the edge once again. 4th
and goal. Williams will flank Howell in the backfield. That was Groves in motion. Play action again. Wide open for the easy touchdown. Javonte Williams. And Carolina strikes first in the battle for the bell.
Well, Roy, you talked about the window dressing with Groves on that return jet motion, and it looked like the window dressing was taking the play to the right side, but watch Williams after the fake. A lot of times the defense will lose that guy. Play action pass, and then they completely drop coverage, does Duke defensively, on Williams after that play fake inside.
Extra point up and good. 50 yards in just 8 plays in less than 2.5 minutes for Sam Howell and the North Carolina Tar Heels. 14 scores on the board this season for Javonte Williams. Here's the latest.
Progressive presents At Home with Baker Mayfield.
Well, to me, the protagonist dream.
And the Heels on top, 7-0. Send you to the studio. Here's Zubin Mehenti.
Roy, thank you. This studio update brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. Trad Beatty, redshirt sophomore, making his second start for Temple. Randall Jones is going to help him out and do most of the work here. Going 75 yards to the house. And just like that, we've got our first big score of the game on the board for the Owls. Back to you.
Zubin, thank you very much. Chase Bryce on the field for the first time today. The Clemson transfer helped the Tigers win the national championship 2 seasons ago. Backing up Trevor Lawrence. Already facing a quick deficit. Pocket collapses. He gets rid of it. Out of bounds, looking for his tight end, incomplete. Kelly, probably not the start that Duke fans hope for with Bryce transferring into this program. The pandemic certainly has played a role in that, but Chase and Coach Cutcliffe admitted to us this week the last 2 weeks have felt different. We'll see if that continues on this play. It will not. Jeremiah Gimmel with the sack, and down goes Bryce.
Yeah, and Gimmel comes off the edge, and so many times, Roy, Duke wants to set things up with the run game, and then they'll play action and boot off of that run game. There hasn't been any run game yet, and Gimmel just runs right through the A-gap and gets to the quarterback. But you're exactly right. I think Bryce has played better as of late, but the lack of preparation really hurt him early in the season.
Delayed handoff. Deion Jackson finds a crease, but nowhere near the line to gain. He was stopped by Tamon Fox, and Duke goes 3 and out. This has been a picture-perfect start for Carolina so far on the road.
Yeah, and you can't go 3 and out when Carolina's offense is a quick strike, very efficient offense. You have to possess the football. That was what Coach Cutcliffe told us yesterday, is that they had to take care of the football. They had to establish that run first and foremost because that's who they are personality-wise offensively.
Porter Wilson leads the ACC with 6 punts over 50+ this season as Dazz Newsome drifts back. Had a breakout performance in this rivalry contest a year ago. Good field position again for Carolina after a 46-yard punt and a 10-yard return by Newsome. So what's Coach Cutcliffe telling his quarterback Chase Bryce after that series, Kelly?
I think to be patient, let the game plan really develop, and I don't like the play calling, quite frankly, early in that series. Sometimes you want to break tendencies, so you come out and you try to throw to establish the run versus vice versa. You can see Williams has just been an absolute drive finisher all season long with the 14 touchdowns, but I think you have to run the football if you're Duke for a couple of reasons. A, that's what you do best, but B, you have to possess it and keep it away from North Carolina.
So they're going to check to see if Dazz Newsome stepped out of bounds. Rusty Akery will take a look as we step aside. Coach Cutcliffe calls it the grocery store rivalry because everywhere he goes, everybody's talking about it, especially the local supermarket. Back at Wallace Wade, Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott, Alex Chappell. Second possession for Carolina. Javonte Williams already with a touchdown. He'll pick up 14 and a first down here.
And Duke has zero shot today if they don't make North Carolina's offense one-dimensional in some form. amazingly balanced is North Carolina. They have the two-headed monster, Thunder and Lightning, running the football, and a gaggle of receivers with the second-year quarterback making really good decisions.
Howell looking deep, floats it long, has a man, and the pass will be caught. It'll be 1st and goal for North Carolina. Emery Simmons hauls it in. He was covered by Jeremiah Lewis, but that's a gain of 51.
And Duke is going to play a snoot full of press man coverage on the outside. There are going to be vertical opportunities all day long because that's who Duke is. They're not going to change just because of the North Carolina firepower, and Simmons makes a really nice contested catch, and that's what I saw on tape, Roy, is North Carolina has a really good group of receivers, but they're very good with the ball in the air.
Winning those one-on-one battles. Sam Howell pulls it out, keeps it towards the pylon for the touchdown. Carolina 2 for 2, and just like that, they're ahead by 13 points with the extra point to come.
And Sam Howell doesn't do a ton of this, but when he does, it's efficient and it's intentional. And you saw Morales coming off from left to right and ended up being the lead blocker to take the edge defender. But really, there wasn't anyone to block until late. So Sam's an effective runner when they need to, picking up a first down or closing out in the red zone.
Grayson Atkins on for the extra point. It is true, 14-0. North Carolina over Duke, not even 5 minutes in. Send you now back to the studio. Here's Zubin Mehenti.
Roy, thank you. We'll match that touchdown with one of our own, West Virginia, Texas, Ellinger, Brennan Eagles. Just like that, the horns are on the board, 7-0. You can see the game on ABC. Back to you. And we've also got Michigan State and Iowa. Tyler Goodson with the Hawkeyes looking for their first win of the season, up 7-0 on Mel Tucker and company.
Big day for college football, Zubin. Thank you very much as Mac Brown looks on. Pac-12 returns later tonight over on ABC, Stanford and Oregon. What a scene that will be, even without fans. It's great to have college football united for the first time in 2020. Second stint for Mac Brown, of course, in Chapel Hill. He told us this week, wanted to come back and show that I could resurrect this program and also show my family that I can handle losses better than I used to in Texas. And I think the quote of the week, Kelly, was when he referred to a conversation with his wife, Sally. Said, I told her when we came back, the losses wouldn't take him as hard as I used to. She told me after we lost to Florida State last month that I lied to her.
Yeah, and I think last week it took him till Wednesday to really talk to anyone in the house. So I'm not sure that he's getting a ton better or not. But the bottom line is he has instilled a ton of excitement into this program in Chapel Hill. And you see his record right there. A lot of excitement, and it's been received incredibly well on the recruiting trail also.
Climbing the recruiting rankings, ESPN 300. Trying to close off the borders, the state of North Carolina. Jackson off the left side. Will pick up 3 on first down. Important possession now for Duke as we check the infraction with a penalty.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 51. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
Raymond Vohasek, the guilty party that time.
Vohasek with the good old-fashioned head slap as he's trying to get to the football. North Carolina is not real aggressive or dynamic on the defensive line of scrimmage. They're going to play a lot more 3-4 today because they feel they're better against the run out of this 3-man down lineman look.
Bryce bobbled the snap for a moment. A late handoff to Jackson as he plunges. Powers his way ahead close to midfield. Jeremiah Gemmel, who had the early sack with a tackle there. It's a gain of 5.
And Philly, we talked to David Cutcliffe about his play calling once again. He hasn't called plays since 2007 when he was the OC at Tennessee. And so getting back into that rhythm, but he wants to run the football, play action, kicks Bryce off of that established run game.
Bryce reported to Durham this summer after the pandemic struck. Noah Gray grabs his first pass, ushered out by Tyrone Hopper to bring up third down.
And Noah Gray could be big today. I think there are going to be opportunities in the middle of the field against North Carolina's linebackers in coverage in particular. But Coach Cutcliffe, I think, is a tremendous play caller. I mean, that's where he made his name in this business, but he's back at it again for the first time in a long while.
Jackson tripped up. He should have first down yardage as Duke now arrives in North Carolina territory for the first time. And you hate to say this is a must-score possession for the Blue Devils, but early on, given how explosive Carolina has been the last 4 games, certainly feels that way. And movement up front. Busy afternoon already for Dwayne Haight. Here he is again.
Ball start. Offense. Offensive line. 5-yard penalty. First down.
In Philly, we heard from Coach Cutcliffe. One of the first words out of his mouth was, we can't have negative plays. They're not dynamic enough on the offensive side of the ball to overcome being behind in the chains. And that's first and foremost on North Carolina's defensive list, is to force Duke to work uphill all the time offensively.
7 in the box for Carolina on 1st and 15 off the pump fake. Grab is made by Calhoun. And he's brought down to the turf at the 45. That's a gain of 7 as Bryce tries to find his rhythm here.
Yeah, and I think, Roy, that's what's coming along with Chase Bryce is his rhythm. And we talked about it. He was 3 years in a different system at Clemson. He didn't have any spring. He shows up with everyone else, starts to practice on July 13th. And so he's been learning a completely different way of playing the position under Coach Cutcliffe.
Carolina struggled against running quarterbacks. They will not here. That's a loss of 4. Cam Kelly with the sack of Chase Bryce.
And Cam Kelly is firing from his safety position. He's the support guy out wide, and this is not the strong suit of Chase Bryce. We know that. But we also know that North Carolina defensively has struggled mightily with dual threat quarterbacks. Well, Bryce is not that guy.
That was Patrice Renee with the sack, not Kelly. Now it's 3rd and 13 for midfield. Bryce will be flushed. And well short of the line to gain. He's going to be double teamed. Chaz Surratt, Jeremiah Gemmel combined to make the tackle, and it'll be 4th down.
But once again, behind in the sticks, 3rd and a long way to go, and Bryce doesn't have anything down the field and has to just climb in the pocket. North Carolina does a really good job of rallying to the ball, mainly because of Chaz Surratt is a very athletic quarterback become linebacker at that 2nd level for North Carolina.
Amazing story for Chaz Surratt. He had the game winner last year in this rivalry. Interception of the jump pass in the end zone back at Kenan Stadium. Former quarterback, now linebacker, and a lot of people like him and his potential at the next level. Carolina gets it back right after this.
Hey there, Roy and Kelly. Well, yesterday, talking with offensive coordinator Phil Longo about the development of quarterback Sam Howell, and he said one of the biggest things that stood out to him, just his mental maturity. They have a thing called don't blink. He said whether things are going positive or negative, it's on to the next play, next drive, and he likes seeing that out of his young QB, especially in a game where they're off to a quick start like today.
I would think so, Alex. Thank you very much. The don't blink offense, as you look at Sam Howell's offseason checklist, and really, I think he's done a great job, Kelly, of checking all of these boxes so far in 2020.
Yeah, and getting to the running backs in that run game was Phil Longo's focus, and what that represents is the ability for the quarterback to get rid of the football more quickly.
Slant. Chaffrey Brown makes the reception, the younger brother of De'Ami Brown. That's another first down for Carolina. Marquise Waters brought him down for Duke.
And Roy, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 4th time we've seen that run pass option out of Phil Longo, which is the zone run inside, and it's the slant outside to a menagerie of different receivers that can catch it.
Yeah, I think you called it a gaggle earlier. Michael Carter out of the backfield, close to first down yardage. Christian Hood escorted him out of bounds right at the line to gain.
So I have a gaggle and I have a menagerie, and we also now we're including running backs and catching the football also. A lot of targets out there.
I think so. And, you know, we talked with Phil Longo about it. And you and I discussed it this week leading up to the game. And you know, it kind of reminds you of what the St. Louis Rams had, the greatest show on turf about 20 years ago. Most of the players playing today probably don't remember that offense. It's Jeremiah Lewis, the nice stick for no gain for Phil Longo's unit. But we mentioned that to Coach Longo, and he said, it's funny you say that because I spent about 27 literal hours this offseason talking with Kurt Warner and their tempo and their methodology back in the day. And so we're seeing some bits and pieces incorporated from the NFL now in Chapel Hill, and it certainly is paying dividends. Quick strike and a short gain will bring up 3rd down and long as Jalen Alexander brought down Brown. Check that Newsome. You see the metrics in the last month. We're 530 per game. First time in 50 years that's happened. Swing pass. Javonte Williams has it. And Kelly, do you go for it on 4th down here?
I think Mack Brown does go for it. One thing that you want to do is you have pressure right now because of the quick start by North Carolina's offense, and you don't want to relieve that pressure. So absolutely go for it right here and try to convert and possess the football.
7 in the box for Duke on 4th and 2 as Howell's flanked by Williams, the hammer. Play clock at 5, and a timeout will be called.
Timeout.
Back to the studio. Here's Rutgers' finest, Zubin Mehenti. Zubin, what do you got?
Roy, thank you. Menagerie, gaggle, big words from Kelly. Big run here by Drake Anderson. In fact, the longest run of his young career for the
We'll see. Fast start for Iowa at home against Michigan State. 4th and 2 here, Kelly. What do you like?
Well, right now, that press coverage outside by Duke has not been able to cover wide receivers, especially coming inside on the slant. So why do you not go right now with the run pass option once again? It hasn't been covered right, you know, by Duke early in this game, and it gives you the best of both worlds. If you isolate an edge defender or an overhang player and you force him to be wrong if you have a good decision maker at quarterback. So if that overhang steps up to become a run defender, you throw the slant to a speedy receiver behind him. I think you have the best of both worlds right there.
Out of the timeout. They'll move Chaffrey Brown off the field. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Alex Chappell. Beautiful afternoon for college football along Tobacco Road. On 4th down, the inside give, and a 1st down for Carolina. Javonte Williams will push the pile. He needed 2. He picks up 5, and that'll keep the drive alive.
Yeah, and the bad news is, look at the stacked box. There are 8 guys in the box. That's a run defense. You can't really get any more than that. And UNC hatted people up, and Williams, the hammer, the thunder, ends up converting and extends the drive for North Carolina.
Williams and Carter, the only 2 backs on the same team over 100 yards per game this season. There goes Michael Carter. Carter inside the 10, ushered out at the 6. 1st down and goal for UNC.
And that's where you see the complementary run game. We saw the thunder on the play before with Williams, and then it's the zone or stretch outside to a speedier Carter. Maybe more quickness in tight spaces, but he can break ankles in the secondary.
It's a gain of 27. Carter spun down inside the 5 by Victor Dimukeji. That'll bring up 2nd and goal.
Now, Roy, one thing you hear about North Carolina's offense is balance. I mean, they can beat you in so many ways, and it really is the ultimate kind of versatility of truly beating you by taking advantage of what the defense gives.
Williams already with a touchdown today. Make it number 2 for number 25. Javonte Williams leads the country in total TDs, his 15th of the season. And Mac Brown's squad is rolling in this great rivalry contest.
And you really have seen it early in this game. This is just getting a hat on a hat. You see the tight end Walston coming. It's called the divide zone or slice zone. He comes and kicks out a defender on the left side, and then it's the Thunder that goes right down the middle of the boulevard. And that's what you see, complementary, balanced football that makes this offense so tough from North Carolina.
Grayson Atkins' leg already starting to get sore early in this one as we check in once again with Zubin back in the studio.
Roy, this studio update brought to you by AT&T 5G. After a tumultuous offseason for the Iowa Hawkeyes, are looking for their first win of the regular season. First-year starter Spencer Petras to Brandon Smith. They're all over the Spartans at Kinnick Stadium. It's on ESPN. Back to you.
Back in Durham, 21-0. North Carolina, it almost feels like a continuation the second half at Virginia last week. The problem was Carolina had already given up 40+. Different story so far today. Are you surprised by this number, Kelly?
I really am. I thought Duke's defense actually has some really talented personnel on it. And the way that Duke plays with pressuring the football and a couple of edge guys that are going to be, I think, NFL-type players. And just North Carolina has such a number of weapons, and they can be really efficient and powerful in the run game. But as soon as you load the box, you're going to get shots taken on you as well, and it's just incessant pressure out of this group from North Carolina.
Sam Howell was a cool customer in our conversations with him this week, and both you and I made note of that. He also has the best beard in the Atlantic Coast Conference in 2020 as well. Durant and Phil Johnson will watch this sail into the end zone, and we remind you the Pac-12 is back. College football united once again, and later tonight, number 12 Oregon and Stanford, 2 great Pac-12 rivals. 7:30 Eastern, ABC also on the ESPN app. And surprise, surprise, Cardinal have won 3. Its last 4 against the Ducks. Mario Cristobal's only loss as a head coach at home is 13-1. Came against Stanford 2 years ago. Plenty of reasons to watch as Oregon tries to enter the playoff chase, and they've got work to do, the Ducks, to make that happen. So do the Blue Devils here. Chase Bryce, the handoff. Mataeo Durant gets his first touch, and he's got a big gator. Durant off to the races, spun down in plus territory, and that was much needed for Duke in a gain of 28, Kelly.
And the 2 running back run game, which Duke hasn't done much of today. You see the tight end 87, Noah Gray, is actually an extra running back at times. He will block from that running back position, and Duke is at their best when they do runs like that.
Bryce will keep it. He'll lose 3 yards. Patrice Rene with a stop, his second TFL in our first quarter.
Well, it's a little surprising that Bryce has actually kept the ball on a couple of more quarterback read type runs, and North Carolina has had none of it so far.
Those 2 plays have been drive killers. Bryce told us this week in regards to the run game, I'm a football player first, then a quarterback. He'll hand it off here for a short gain on 2nd and 12. As Durant will pick up 3, and he was stopped by Cam Kelly.
I think Bryce is still more of a quarterback than a football player when you want to get him on the edge in that quarterback run game. I mean, maybe that will develop as time goes on, but what you can do is you can run the run pass option game where you can still cancel a defender with the quarterback's decision making, but Bryce isn't going to run it very far, very fast.
On 3rd down, here comes the heat, and the pass is going to be intercepted. Day Hollins has it, and he is off to the races. Hollins struck down at the 21. And how about this Carolina defense flexing in our first 15 minutes on the road?
Yeah, and the quarterback, Chase Bryce, just simply didn't see this. He thought it was man-to-man coverage, but Hollins started in press coverage outside, and then actually it's a zone on the back end. You can see right there, Hollins is just baiting the quarterback and is getting underneath that route. There was pressure up inside. Bryce didn't see it clearly and just throws it directly to Hollins. They call that a rat trap when the corner outside is just trapping that receiver that's coming from the outside in.
first interception of the season for the sophomore from Tampa, Day Hollins. Duke came into this contest, Kelly, leading the country in turnovers. That is the Blue Devils' 24th, and now just 7+ games. Drew Jordan with the tackle, and no gain on the play for Carolina. Could be the final play of a fast-moving first quarter.
Yeah, fast-moving North Carolina offense. They haven't even hit a speed bump yet in this first quarter here today.
So as time winds down, Sam Howell will allow that to happen. And the Tar Heels have been impressive on the road, forcing one turnover, a couple of touchdowns for Javonte Williams. The battle for the bell is on, and so far it is the Tar Heels and Mack Brown getting it done. Part of our second quarter. Howell back to the air, has a man-to-man coverage, and it's incomplete. De'Ami Brown was blanketed by Michael Carter halfway through the end zone.
And that's a really good matchup. It was a perfectly thrown ball, but it was very well played by Carter. It's a perfect fade, outside shoulder. Brown goes and gets it, but watch the right hand right there. You break up the pocket of the football. Don't panic if you're in press coverage and you see the taillights of the receiver. Just break up the pocket when the ball gets there.
A rare third down for Carolina. Heels need 11. Out in the flats, they'll get that and a lot more. Towards the pylon, a punishing finish for Michael Carter, and he's there for the touchdown.
Roy, we talked about the fact that North Carolina wanted to be better at getting the ball to their running backs in the pass game. And that's what we've seen in this game. Carter and Williams are both very good receivers. They're terrific when they're completely uncovered. And that's the second time this afternoon that Duke hasn't covered the back out of the backfield. And then Carter just finishes by showing a bunch of shoulder pads and knee pads, and I think gets in the end zone.
Michael Carter plowed over Michael Carter for the 6 points.
You may go the rest of your career with not calling a play like that with Michael Carter on Michael Carter.
Well, we identified that this week and wondered if it would happen. We didn't know it would be early second quarter with a touchdown at stake, and let's see if he stayed in bounds.
Wow. I certainly don't see anything there that would allow this ball to be turned, and we're that one again. Indisputable video evidence. Called a touchdown initially on the field, but Michael Carter from North Carolina finished really well against Michael Carter.
After further review,
the defensive back
field
from
is
Duke.
confirmed. Touchdown.
Pick your poison in the backfield for Mack Brown's club, whether it's Javonte Williams. He scored 15 touchdowns. He leads the country this season after 2 already today, or Michael Carter, who the coaching staff told us this week has unbelievable bursts. He's been a great leader in talking with Coach Brown about social injustices this year over a turbulent summer. And both of Michael Carter's parents actually serving our great country in the Air Force for the last couple of decades. Atkins continues a busy afternoon as he remains perfect.
Well, Roy, you know going into the game when you're playing North Carolina's offense that you have to try to make them one-dimensional, and the problem is it's incredibly difficult to do that to Mack Brown's offense. They run it well. They run it with a diverse run game, diversity and versatility with Carter and Williams in that run game, and then you have a second-year quarterback in Sam Howell that just is getting more and more and more comfortable with decision-making and distributing the football.
28-0.
Wow.
Carolina.
Going into this game, I thought that Duke was ready to play a complete game, which we haven't seen, particularly out of their offense. But right now, it's all about what we saw on tape, it's a North Carolina offense that's incredibly difficult to defend.
Yeah, Blue Devils off their second win of the season against Charlotte, just overmatched the 49ers at the line of scrimmage. So take a look at our Duracell power plays today, and guess what? It's all Carolina.
Yeah, just take a look at how you're going to defend this. Well, you can start by covering the running back in the pass game. And then Sam Howell isn't a great runner of the football, but he knows when he needs to do it. And then it's thunder down Main Street, and then it's lightning that finishes into the end zone right here. I mean, what are you going to do with that? Mack Brown has a lot of weapons that Phil Longo, his play caller, can use, and we've seen them all today.
Phil Longo told us, mentioned it earlier. Alex talked about it on the field. Don't blink. Don't blink with his offenses. Bryce wants to go long, and it's incomplete. Looking for Jake Bobo deep down the field. One of the top targets for number 8 in blue.
And Duke fans, if you're looking for a little ray of sunshine or hope, it's the fact that North Carolina hasn't played well in the second quarter, and they have allowed teams to get ahead of them or come back in this quarter. So Coach Cutcliffe understands that this is a really, really important quarter to his club.
The Tar Heels are about -80, maybe -90 in the second quarter this year. We'll double check that as Jalil Taylor makes the stop of Mataeo Durant. Third down upcoming, and Duke is really unable to string together multiple first downs so far in any possession.
Yeah, in third and behind the sticks. When you're in third down, you want to be 3 or less. 4 or less is acceptable, but 7 is a pass down, and UNC is going to light Bryce up right here.
Pressure on the way. Bryce escapes. Durant's going to have a first down and a lot more. Mataeo Durant with a punishing finish of his own. And barreled out of bounds by Cam Kelly near midfield. It's a gain of 16.
And it was the corner fire, the corner blitz from the short side of the field. You can see the avoidance by Bryce right there, and then dumps it out to Mataeo. That is their speed back, and he converts. So it's going to take a lot of plays like this in this quarter for Duke to get back into it.
Straight ahead and a short gain. Give him 2 yards on first down. Gimmel the stop.
North Carolina is just getting a bunch of hats in the box because they feel comfortable defensively with their coverage outside in man-to-man coverage. If you're man-to-man outside, you can add box to the inside in this Duke run game that's yet to be established this afternoon.
It's a 3-point game a year ago at Kenan Stadium. As Bryce brought down in the backfield again. This time it's Desmond Evans, a freshman from Sanford, North Carolina. And number 10 records his sack, his first in his career.
And Surratt, the linebacker, 21, is being added. So there's 5 rushing the quarterback. And it was an easy access, quick throw was the intention by Chase Bryce. But the man-to-man coverage by North Carolina on the back end took that away. And the coverage or the rush got to Bryce.
And it does once again. A race to the backfield. Tamon Fox, Desmond Evans. There is a penalty marker on the field. Let's check the infraction. This Carolina defense looking light years better than a week ago.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 56, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down. Number 62, whose helmet came off, may remain in the game.
Will give Duke a first down, and talk about a gift. I mean, Duke scratching and clawing for every yard so far, Kelly.
And those are the type of plays that Mack Brown's team has piled up in the second quarter and allowed teams to get back in it at times this season.
Defense has been a question mark for Carolina. The offense has not. The team expected to contend in the upper echelon of the ACC. Bryce off the back foot, has a man, and it is incomplete. Calhoun, the intended target. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 as we check in with Alex.
Talking with Patrice Renee about bouncing back after that UVA game, Roy, and he said that last weekend we just felt like We obviously did not play to where we know we can. We have higher standards for ourselves. We felt like we fell short. And so we want to come out and make a huge statement against our rivalry. We want to show what our defense is really all about against our in-state rival, Duke.
And Renee has battled back from a knee injury, missed some time this year, missed most of last season. What a spark he's been for Carolina today. Near the line of scrimmage. Off the screen. Pankel will pick up a first down for Duke, and that's a nice looking play for Chase Brice and Eli Pankel.
You know, and it's a nice way to supplement the run game. When a defense is loading the box, as North Carolina is, you can screen outside those high percentage completions to supplement that run.
After a gain of 12, Pankel, a motion in and out of the backfield, and they'll swing it his direction. To the edge, and a nice gain on first down. Baby steps for Duke, driving against this North Carolina defense.
Well, what we heard from Duke and North Carolina coming into this game was the +1 run game by an offense against Duke's defense, which typically means a dual threat quarterback. But you can add someone to the run game in a variety of ways. We've just seen it with Pankel the last 2 plays.
After a gain of 5, Brice will keep it. No success in the quarterback run game so far. He'll net 2 yards here as Chaz Surratt brought him down.
And Roy, what I mean by that +1 run game, it's typically adding the quarterback, so the defense has to play 11 on 11 because the quarterback's a viable runner. Chase isn't going to be that guy today, so you have to add wide receivers into the mix as well in the run game catching it, or screen game catching it, or the run game on the fly sweeps.
Brice will take off. Needed 3. He'll gain 1. It'll bring up 4th down. And Kelly, I feel like I don't even have to ask. But Duke, what do you do?
Yeah, this is a must go for it here. There isn't any doubt about it. If you can convert here, get a touchdown, and potentially a second one in this second quarter, you feel a whole lot better about yourself going into halftime if you're David Cutcliffe.
A lot of ifs and ands in that statement. Let's see what Brice does under center. He'll hand it off. Jackson in the backfield. Needed 2. He'll gain 3, and the drive stays alive for Duke. Actually give him 4 with under 10 to play in our first half.
Noah Gray, the tight end, does a good job at the top of blocking that second-level defender, and then Jackson slides off to the left. It was fairly piled up at the point of attack inside, but you continue to slide if you're Jackson.
Pankel, what appeared to be a reverse, and plenty of real estate for the touchdown. So David Cutcliffe reaches into his bag of tricks, and Duke's on the board as Pankel reaches pay dirt. First score of the season for the sophomore out of Indiana.
So there's your +1 run game. This time it's just a pitch to Pankel, the receiver in the backfield, starting at the slot position, and then he's going to just come around and catch the football. But Pankel also caught it on a tunnel screen and the fly sweep type of run. So that's a +1 in the run game that Duke got something out of on that drive.
75-yard drive in just over 5 minutes. Eli Pankel reaching the end zone as Duke tries to sneak its way back in it. A picture-perfect Saturday afternoon at Wallace Wade. Keep this thing with us. We don't want to lose possession of that precious victory bell. It's amazing, though, talking with Jay Bateman, the defensive play caller for Carolina. They knew the jump pass was coming based off of his scouting against Duke when he was the defensive coordinator at Army. On first down, a rare negative yardage play as Carter's bottled up by Lummy Young.
And you just have a sense, Roy, that this is a vital part of the game for Duke defensively. They have to find a way to get off the field. They haven't done it a whole lot. And Coach Cutcliffe told us there aren't many 3-and-outs to be had against this offense with Sam Howell pulling the trigger. You have to defend kind of the next series of plays, the next set of 3 plays. We'll see how they do here.
Carter escapes one tackler, tripped up. It'll be 3rd down and short. Ben Fry got there. And to that point, Kelly, 6 games for Carolina this year, 6 3-and-outs. That is it.
That is absurd, is what that is. It's very difficult to defend a team that just simply stays on the field with all of these weapons.
On 3rd and 2, Chris Rump, second tackle on this drive, unable to prevent the first down. It'll be a net of 3 as Carolina's offense stays on the field.
Well, and Duke's defensive game plan against Phil Longo was that they had to stick with who they are. It's in-your-face press man outside to take away the easy access throws, what they call them, and then stop the run. But they haven't been successful at taking away those easy access plays.
Howell wants another easy completion here, instead escapes the pocket. Surveys and hauls one deep. Has a man and it's incomplete. Boy, he showed you the arm strength that time, looking for Emery Simmons. Lummy Young was in coverage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And Sam Howell absolutely will keep his eyes downfield when he leaves the pocket. There are 2 reasons to leave the pocket. If you get through your progression and then you have to bail out because you can't stay in there forever, or if pressure forces you out. It's that second category that Sam Howell has had to get better at, is when you suddenly have to leave the pocket for pressure. You still have to be a great decision maker outside the box.
Only 4 incompletions today to that end. This pass sails out of bounds, looking for Chaffrey Brown. 3rd down coming up for the Tar Heels, and now a big play for this Duke defense, Kelly.
Those last 2 plays kind of summarize the defensive game plan for Duke. Is put up multiple hats in the box, force North Carolina to be somewhat one-dimensional, and then hold up in coverage. And they haven't held up in coverage today very often.
Chris Rump and Victor Dimukeji lead the country in sacks with 7.5 apiece. It's a race to the quarterback on 3rd and long here. Howell escapes, and how about that? The crafty Sam Howell with an easy first down as Jamarick Woods ushered him out, but Sam Howell too easy time for number 7.
Well, Dimukeji and Rump are the edge rushers. They're the cheetahs with their hand in the ground getting after the quarterback, but it's man-to-man coverage. And as a quarterback, you literally see kind of the Red Sea parting, and you're getting a little edge pressure, step up and get the first down like Howell did right there.
He's got almost 20 yards on the ground in this first half. There goes Javonte Williams to the edge and lassoed out of bounds around the 35. Shaka Hayward and Mousy got there first for the Duke defense.
Matt Guerreri, the defensive coordinator for Duke, has to decide what you want to take away. You can't allow an offense to do both parts of the game well. You have to load up against the box come hell or high water, or you have to cover people. And right now, Duke isn't doing either one of those things consistently well.
And the high water has the Blue Devils D drowning. Sam Howell pass was tipped. Dazz Newsome was covered by Marquise Waters, so I think got a fingertip on it.
And that's a new way to cover that RPO. That was the zone slant RPO run pass option again. And Waters was an underneath cover guy that got underneath that slant. So it was man-to-man coverage outside, which is the DNA of Duke defensively. But it was Waters getting underneath the slant, initially being in that run box.
7 in the box for the Blue Devils. The inside give. 4th and short upcoming as Michael Carter was stopped by Open. Caleb Open with the tackle, and let's see what Mac Brown dials up on 4th down.
Well, Roy, this is where we talked about Duke's defense needing to get. You don't get North Carolina off the field offensively in the 3 and outs, as you pointed out. You defend the next series of plays, and the next series of plays after that. 4th and 2 is your opportunity, Duke defensively.
Heels perfect on 4th down so far this afternoon. Can it continue? The answer is yes. There goes Williams. Williams with an easy path to the end zone for another touchdown. His 3rd of the game, his 16th this season, as he continues to pace the country in that category.
Multiple weapons equates to immense pressure on a defense. Williams just takes advantage of a hat on a hat up front. Eliminate the penetration on 4th and short, and then running backs that are on scholarship are going to get yards under those conditions, and that's what we saw right there. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns for North Carolina offensively.
Rocky Shelton thought he had the angle. Javonte Williams had other intentions in mind. #12 game between Oregon and Stanford up in Eugene. DJ Uiagalelei for the ACC fans that have yet to figure out how to pronounce Big Cinco's name, the quarterback for Clemson. He'll get the start in place of Trevor Lawrence, who will make the trip to South Bend, but not be allowed to participate. The dump off to Jackson, who has all kinds of real estate. And Jackson into plus territory on a play that looks too easy for the Duke offense, Kelly.
And the Duke offense has found something when they get the ball to their running backs in the pass game or insert their wide receivers in the run game. And this is a swing screen. It was linemen getting out in front of the running back, and Jackson takes advantage of it. That was by design, and there certainly needs to be a whole lot more of that the rest of this game.
Patrice Renee had the quarterback pressure, actually got a fingertip on that pigskin as it left the hands of Chase Bryce. It's a gain of 48. And another quick toss, this time to Darrell Harding, 8th catch of the season. He's stopped by Jaleel Taylor.
But the moral of the story, if what we're seeing right there is, if you're playing North Carolina, you have to force North Carolina defensively to tackle out in space. I've seen on tape where they take bad angles, they don't tackle well out in space at times, and there are opportunities out there.
Off the handoff, Jackson corralled by Miles Murphy, a talented freshman from right up the street in Greensboro.
And Murphy is a defensive tackle that maybe has a little more juice on that defensive line of scrimmage than others. He's playing with that club on his right hand. He broke his hand earlier in the season, so it's not easy to tackle when you only have one hand to do it with.
3rd down and 11 for Duke, driving once again against North Carolina. Quick strike, incomplete. Eli Pankel, the intended receiver. 4th and long, you kick the field goal here, Kelly?
I think you do kick the field goal, even though you're down 35-7. You need some type of points. If it was 4th and maybe a little more manageable, I think you would go for it. But I think Coach Cutcliffe is going to throw the hammer down right now and just say, you know what, we have to get this in the end zone. The percentages aren't very good right now at 4th and 11. And Coach Cutcliffe's team offensively isn't really built with playmakers out on the outside.
Duke. Their first time out of the half.
What will the Blue Devils do? We'll find out. North Carolina bunch.
And you can see the show of pressure in early with Sprout and also Fox up in the A-gaps.
They'll back out of it. Bryce with time, pocket collapsing quickly, and it's incomplete. Was bothered on the toss to Noah Gray. And the Carolina defense holds. Coming down was Tamari Fox, and he forced Bryce to get rid of it early, Kelly.
Yeah, and it was the show of pressure, but there were enough guys to block the rush that actually came from North Carolina. Really only rushing 2 edge guys, and then you had a plugger in the middle, and then you were coverage on the back end. But 4th and 11, the percentages are slim to none, and Slim just rode out of town on a horse if you don't have wide receivers that can get downfield quickly.
And you agree with the decision, considering field goals really aren't going to do very much against Sam Howell in North Carolina. Approaching 4 to play. Play action again. The slant is open and available. Emery Simmons has it, covered by Lewis. And a couple of flags on the field. There may have been some contact there. Let's check the penalty after a gain of 17.
And you wonder if a target might be initiated, but Simmons comes inside.
Really
there wasn't a lot of contact, maybe a little bit early.
Foul, targeting, defense, number 0. The previous play is under further review.
Conley was the safety, Roy, that was coming over the nickel safety to get involved on that slant, and I didn't see that. Remember, it's forcible contact above the shoulders in the head and neck, or it can be with the crown of the helmet anywhere, but forcible contact, that was with the shoulder. It wasn't the crown. So was it above the shoulders in the head and neck?
Marquise Waters, the Duke safety, numeral 0.
The other thing, Philly, is the indicator, and the indicator there to me was a lowering of the shoulder.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. Number 0 may remain in the game. The result of the play, first down.
I think the indicator was the questionable part of that. You have to have that, and you have to have forcible contact, and I don't think that play should have gotten a flag to begin with.
I would tend to agree with that. Replay official Rusty Acree makes the correct call from the booth. If you're just tuning in, North Carolina 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns. The score tells the story. The Heels have been electric on defense so far today as well. And Sam Howell has been a magician in the pocket. Handoff to Carter, stopped by Waters, who remains on the field after the targeting penalty was nullified.
Yeah, Roy, the North Carolina offense has been consistently dynamic. They have 35 touchdowns, and we're halfway through the 7th game. I mean, they absolutely scored in bunches, and the pressure on the opposing offense is ratcheted up more so as the game goes on.
Howell again, clean pocket, loads one up to go deep, has De'Ami Brown, and just overshot his intended receiver. Leonard Johnson was in coverage, and Howell threw that one a long ways.
And that's been the theme all year, is you have the run-pass option on the zone and the slant, and then as you start to peek inside defensively, a shot is coming. They will take a couple of these per quarter, and this one's just slightly overthrown. Sam Howell talked to us about that because of the deep ball success this offense had a year ago, he talked about needing to be more patient in his 2nd year of calling plays. And right now, that's one of the best things that Sam does, is the deep ball success.
He told us his favorite throw is the deep post. Haven't seen it a lot today. We've seen some of this as Howell's upended. Short of the line to gain. 4th and short upcoming for Carolina after a gain of 9 by Sam Howell, the quarterback keeper.
Officials timeout for injury.
And the pressure that time coming from Chris Rump, one of the few times we've called his name today. On a busy afternoon for college football. And again, coming up later tonight, we remind you, Sunday NFL Countdown tomorrow. Go all access with Seahawks breakout wide receiver DK Metcalf. Which should be an outstanding weekend for the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes wired for sound. Randy Moss will rank all the best catches from today. Make sure you kick off your Sunday with NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Monday Night Football as well. Cam Newton and the Pats, Sam Darnold and the Jets. Something's got to give. Monday night, 8 o'clock. It all gets underway with Monday Night Countdown starting at 6 Eastern. 8 o'clock kick on ESPN, ESPN Deportes. Also the app, as Lummy Young requires some assistance exiting Brooks Field.
And Roy, North Carolina offensively is 3 for 3 on 4th down today, and it's just one more way that Mack Brown's offense keeps the pressure on you. They're efficient in both aspects of the game. They can run it, they can throw it, which gives Mack Brown more confidence at going for it in places just like this.
Carolina offense did not punt last week in a loss at Virginia. 5 for 5 today, facing 4th and 3 here. 4-man pressure for Duke, and here they come. Howell, poised, has a reception and a man. That is Michael Carter. And the Tar Heels continue decimating this Duke defense.
And it's with the run-back pass game. And Carter just leaks out into the flat from on the left side, and it's a 2-receiver route. There's a wide receiver running an out route, and then it's the coverage underneath that's just too soft on Carter.
Number 8 gets it again, this time via handoff to the edge. And sandwiched between 2 defenders by Duke out of bounds. Jeremiah Lewis got there first.
North Carolina will use 11 personnel a ton, which simply means they use their tight end, 1 running back, and 2 wide receivers. But Garrett Walston is really a flex wide receiver when they need another one, and that's what you see a lot. And then you see the tight end moving like Walston does there to add a hat in the run game.
And movement's going to back the heels up 5 yards.
Offense, number 69, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's a former walk-on, Keyron Johnson, was placed on scholarship just a year ago.
And Roy, Phil Longo has been playing offensive football like this for quite some time. And you talked about the greatest show on turf. There are similarities, and the similarity first and foremost is tremendous pressure on the defense consistently.
And Phil Longo and Sam Howell are in some kind of zone I'm not sure the ACC has seen. Case in point, Javonte Williams, another touchdown. Tony Davis on the wrong end of that finish by Williams, who continues his scoring barrage, Kelly.
And this is just simply a kind of a wrap play. You can see 63 Montulis that gets up and wraps around the center and leads Williams. So it's a semblance of a power play right down Main Street.
Six possessions, 6 touchdowns for North Carolina. That victory bell looks pretty good in that light blue color.
And watch how Williams finishes plays. Woo. First one didn't hardly slow him down. The second one goes low. And Williams is a yak player. He's a yards after contact finisher. And he's the physical part of it. We've already seen Michael Carter finish after he caught the ball in the flat and finish in the end zone. So pick your poison. 17 touchdowns later. And Williams also has 4 receiving touchdowns on the year. So, I mean, you talk about from all directions. Sam Howell has weapons galore.
My question for you, how has this team lost 2 games this year to Virginia and Florida State? You watch them with this kind of proficiency in the first half on both sides. This looks like a team that's built to handle and deal with some of the better teams in the country, especially on offense.
Yeah, and there is an answer to your question. Their 2 losses were 2 things. One, they turned the ball over, not only offensively, but on special teams. And then the opposing offense was able to run the football at a high level, particularly with a dual threat quarterback. That's the kryptonite to this offense. There isn't any other solution other than that.
Sam Howell, we asked him yesterday, describe yourself in 1 word. He thought about it for about 75 seconds. Said it's a great question.
It was longer than that.
And he finally settled in on competitive. And I think he is competing at a high level this year. Durant picks up a first down as he plows ahead over the 40. And a good start for Duke after a gain of 18 on the next possession.
And Sam Howell was complete chill when we talked to him. He was literally on Zoom reclining in his bed with the best beard maybe in college football next to Roy Philpott.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him after this one, give me some tips on how to grow it out. Best beard in the ACC as Duke plows ahead to the 50. And you see it there, the lettuce and the beard's pretty strong along Tobacco Road for number 7.
Yeah, the lettuce on top, he outpaces you a little bit, Philly, but you can compete a little bit with the beard.
Work in progress. 2nd and 3 for the Devils. They're trying to close this first half strong. Duke will get it to start our 3rd quarter, and Chase Bryce is going to be sacked behind the line again. Tyrone Hopper, Chaz Surratt. And the Blue Devils with 2 timeouts remaining.
Officials timeout for a helmet off.
Graham Barton, third-string center, lost his lid that time, Kelly.
And the pressure comes up somewhat late, but North Carolina can pressure you if they can cover on the back end, and I think that ball came out way late, it seemed to me. You talked about Graham Barton at center. He's a freshman center because Duke has gone through 2 of them already. Jack Wallaball actually got hurt in camp, and he was going to be the starter. Then Will Taylor started after that and got hurt in the North Carolina State game.
Offensive player. Duke has elected to use a timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff. Timeout.
And then Graham Barton is the true freshman starting now, and I think he's going to be a tremendous player. He just doesn't have enough experience as we speak.
Games with playoff implications headed your way later today as we take a look at our Chick-fil-A college football rankings and the AP top 10 this week. Big win by BYU last night. Cincinnati and the Cougars perhaps going to have something to say about the playoff race. And then the time is now, Kelly Stoffer. I need your prediction. Clemson, Notre Dame, the highest ranked matchup in ACC history later tonight. Who you got?
I have Clemson. I think Brett Venables' defense is going to play a whole lot better. I think Big Cinco in his second start will be very good, and he will have a defense that, in Brent Venables' defense, that will, like I said, play a whole lot better. But Ian Book is going to have to be enormous in this game, and Notre Dame's going to have to be balanced offensively, but big plays out of Ian Book is going to give Notre Dame a chance, but I still like Clemson in that game.
I thought Brian Kelly said the right things this morning on College Game Day. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Calhoun off the tunnel screen will pick up a first down, stopped by Conley after a gain of 10. Blue Devils with 1 timeout remaining. They'll get it to start the second half. A touchdown here at least gives you a shot, an outside shot. Chase Bryce goes back to work. Pressure. Stays alive, floats one out of bounds. And Chase Bryce and Duke's offense will live to see another down as Tamon Fox brought the pressure.
Yeah, Fox was matched up on Devery Hamilton, the right tackle. He's a transfer from Stanford, and Fox just beat him around the edge that time and got the pressure. Bryce steps up and ends up having to throw that football away.
We saw his brother there, Tamari Fox. Tamon collapsed the pocket that time working against Chase Bryce. 7 of 14 for less than a hundy so far.
Not good.
Approaching 20 seconds to play in our first half. Bryce with time. Sails that one out of bounds looking for Dennis Smith.
But you see the
bad coverage.
The bad combination for
personal foul.
As we see the
roughing the passer. Defense.
The flag roughing the passer.
15-yard penalty. First down.
That was Tamon Fox, and he's an outside linebacker that they will bring off the edge at times as well as that 4th rusher. And it was just a late hit, and Fox didn't know the ball was already gone. He got taken down by the left tackle, Holman, and then just comes to the back leg of the quarterback. But there's just a bad combination right now for Duke offensively, as they don't have the dynamic playmakers in the pass game. And when you have to get downfield, there just isn't a whole lot of separation.
On first down, Bryce slings it towards the end zone and incomplete. Noah Gray. The pass was batted away by Cam Kelly. An outstanding defense for Mack Brown's club.
And I thought we would have heard from Noah Gray more today in this exact way. A vertical option getting downfield to tight end, working the middle of the field, but Cameron Kelly was up to the coverage on that play.
14 seconds remaining. Duke with 1 timeout left. Trailing big at home in the battle for the bell. Pressure off the edge. Duke picks it up. And Durant makes a man miss. He'll have a first down. And shoved out short of the 10 by Gemmel. 5 seconds remaining. Duke with a timeout. Kelly, what do?
You throw the ball into the end zone. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 11, your last time down there, why not go for it right here? It's the same type of situation. Get multiple bodies into the end zone and just show numbers and try to have Bryce throw it to the open guy.
And instead, it appears Coach Cutcliffe's going to take the points. A 29-yard field goal attempt for Charlie Ham, who's had a good season. Freshman out of Atlanta. 11 of 13 in his first campaign in Durham. On the way and good. Now the Blue Devils will get it to start our second half, and they'll score what should be the final offensive possession of the first half. A 64-yard drive, 1 second remaining. And likely a squib kick coming, followed by halftime on a busy day for college football. We're just happy all the conferences are back playing again. Kelly, the Pac-12 returns tonight. Stanford and Oregon. The Ducks think they've got a chance with Mario Cristobal to reach the college football playoff. And they've had a long time to sit and watch all these other teams play the last 2 months, haven't they?
Yeah, and they're even having a hard time getting started. We've seen some of that COVID-19 flare up, but it's good to have the Pac-12 back. And Oregon is the team I want to keep an eye on, and also to see if USC can come back. But Oregon, Cristobal is changing the dynamics in that conference, the way he's recruiting to that program.
They'll have a championship game. It'll be next month. 7-game regular season, including the final weekend in parallel with the championship tilt. Other teams will play as well. And you see some of the big games coming up, most involving the Ducks, but SC and others will have something to say.
And I think college football certainly is better with everyone playing, but it's better if Oregon and USC are world beaters on the national stage. So hopefully that will happen as they get underway also.
It appears to be the battle for that 4th playoff spot. Most who follow the sport closely agree that Clemson, Ohio State, and Bama knocking on the door. Who will be that last team in? Notre Dame, Oregon, another team from the SEC, or someone else? Halftime, Wallace Wade.
A fair catch signal was given by the receiving team and caught cleanly by rule. No time has run off the clock. 1 second on the game clock.
Oh, does Sam Howell chuck one deep here? Do you dare think about something like that, leading by 32?
I don't know that Mac Brown does, because you're leading by 32, but Sam Howell can certainly reach the end zone from where they're going to inherit this football with 1 second left. So this will be interesting to see. Mac Brown was calling his guys over to go to the locker room. That was a heads-up play, by the way, on that fair catch on that pooch kick by Duke.
And Chris Rump told us this week it's hate week. There's no love lost between these two squads. Got a little controversial late last year when Carolina reclaimed the victory bell. They'll hand it off to Carter. And that'll do it. A first half dominated by the Tar Heels. 42-10. Sam Howell was magnificent. And Mac Brown looking for his 10th consecutive win against the Blue Devils. Nissan halftime report coming up right after this break.
Carolina doesn't get stopped very often. We saw that alive and well in the half we just called.
Let's take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Amica Insurance. And you see the numbers on 4th down. Carolina impressive.
Yeah.
Kelly, what else stands out to you?
That's what stands out. Go down to that bottom line, 4 for 4 on 4th down. And what that translates into is pressure. North Carolina wants to possess the football, and they keep it on you the entire time. That's hard to deal with.
6 possessions, 6 touchdowns for North Carolina. Chase Bryce back on the field. Facing a 7-man box, will hand it off to Deion Jackson, who I believe lost the football. And North Carolina recovers. Tar Heels have it. That's Chaz Surratt. Jackson appears to be hurt.
Yeah, Jackson comes up holding that arm that was initially holding the football. You get a helmet right on the ball pops out. Surratt certainly seems to have recovered it, and Jackson got the worst end of that deal. A helmet right on the forearm that was carrying that football.
Gimmel forced it loose. And a couple of big plays for Carolina defensively in the first 2 quarters. Another big one in our third. And look who's back on the field. Sam Howell, Michael Carter. There goes Howell. A shifty little run and another first down for North Carolina.
Well, needless to say, North Carolina offensively doesn't need any help as Howell keeps it. He doesn't do it often, but when he does, it's typically productive. 13 yards on that run, and he's very efficient when he does run with the football.
Sam Howell told us this week in the offseason he trained with Daniel Jones and Anthony Boone, 2 of the best to ever play quarterback at Duke. He respects the rivalry, but he's also learned a lot from a couple of his Duke counterparts as Carter plows ahead, and for a short gain it was Fry and Dimukeji with the stop. Kind of a fun twist in the rivalry to think that one of the best to play at North Carolina trains in the offseason with 2 of the best to ever play at Duke. On 2nd and 8, he'll float it end zone, and Newsome is there, reels it in for the touchdown right over Jalen Alexander, and Carolina remains white hot to start our second half.
And Newsome is matched up on Jalen Alexander, who's a safety from that slot position. And so it's a run-pass option looking to see if you gain an advantage in that inside fade route. That's incredibly hard to defend. You saw the play action pass inside, and then it's the contested fade outside that Newsome comes down with. Does he possess the ball all the way to the ground? That, I think, is going to be the question.
Alexander tried to force it out of there. You see the ball pop loose, and I think that one's coming back. Alexander at the last moment poked the ball loose, and it bounced back up to Dazz Newsome. And Kelly, it's close, but I think it touched the ground without firm control, and I would expect this to be overturned.
And that is the last part of it. It's firm control, and then it's completing the catch. In this case, it's going to the ground and maintaining the control as you land. It's performing an act common to the game is what that's called. So you can see Alexander was trying to get that right hand in on the ball, and I think you're exactly right, Philly. I think that ball touches the ground at the end.
On the field, stands, touchdown.
Wow.
Unbelievable, to be honest with you. I mean, North Carolina doesn't need any assistance, but I think we clearly saw that ball touch the ground at the end.
I agree. That's a touchdown for Newsome, who was explosive in this game a year ago. 48 on the board for the Tar Heels. And this team poised for a run in the ACC to start the second half of this season. On display front and center so far in Durham.
Did you know?
Well, the second year for Mack Brown in his second stint back in Chapel Hill. He told us this week, we're still learning how to win. And you know, when we first got here, we had one of our players raise his hand in a team meeting, and he says, Coach, how do we win? Well, I would say scoring 49 points in just over half of football is a pretty good step in that direction, especially, Kelly, against your arch rival. Devils will get it back. Just underway in our third quarter as we check in again with Alex Chappell.
Hey, Roy. Well, also what he likes is that his young players are getting playing experience, and they've stepped up big time in this game. He said, talking about his young defense, overall, he likes what he's seen. They've stepped up in big situations. They've come through with big 4th and 10 stops. But then he also said, too many penalties. We've got to clean those up in the second half. Now, as for his offense, he said, look at Javonte Williams. He's so powerful. He's a superstar for our team.
I would say so. 8 touches, 4 touchdowns today for number 25 for North Carolina. Tar Heels showing pressure as Durant gets it. And stopped by Chaz Surratt with the initial contact.
As a late flag comes in there, And what Alex was talking about with young players playing, it's out of necessity this year with the COVID 2020 environment.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 17, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Time and time again, Roy, we've seen teams decimated in terms of depth, and young players have had to play vital roles. We've seen it multiple times in the secondary in particular this year.
Now, defense has been optional in this COVID-19 pandemic.
That's a good way to put it.
A lot of teams without spring practice. Summer workouts were cut short, obviously. We didn't know if we were playing until really mid-August, as Durant's going to be tripped up after the penalty. The infraction came against Chris Collins. Surratt and Kelly combined to make the stop here.
And so why would defense be optional? Well, I think defense is about technique and fundamentals, much more than offense is at times. Offense more rhythm, defense technically tackling the guy with the ball, and also assignment sound, and defenses have been few and far between in COVID 2020.
Quick strike, and a first down will be picked up. Jalen Calhoun, an aggressive finish, will move the sticks for Duke.
Few and far between with that type of play. Those easy access, easy completions that somewhat supplement the run game that's been non-existent for Duke today.
And it's not really the type of offense this season, despite David Cutcliffe taking over the play calling duties. It's built to rally from big deficits, but there goes Durant. He's got a Duke touchdown. Mataeo Durant reaches the end zone on the long run, and the Blue Devils, their second touchdown of the day, this one from 46 yards out.
And this is exactly what we thought we would see more of, the two running back run game. As you saw Noah Gray slice across as a tight end, he's basically playing the fullback role. And then it's Durant right down Broadway. It's an inside zone run with the tight end being a fit that cuts off that right side. We thought we would see a ton more success of that very play. We just haven't seen a lot of it.
No, we haven't. Charlie Ham on for the point after. And our new score, 49-17. 2.5 minutes into our third quarter. Mataeo Durant, 8th score of the season. And a quick dash to the end zone for Duke. And the raising of Michael Carter, who has been sensational today and throughout this season for North Carolina. College football presented by USAA as we lead into
Fair
Veterans Day on Wednesday.
Given by the receiving team. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 25.
And the Tar Heels going to get it back, Kelly. I'm not sure what else Sam Howell and company feel like they can accomplish. 7 for 7 on their possessions today, and there have been no field goals attempted by the boys from right up the road in Chapel Hill, some 10 miles away. And Sam Howell's going to trot back out there, and let's see what some of his latest tricks are.
Yeah, and this might be the last opportunity that Sam Howell gets this afternoon. Maybe a backup or two finishing out this game, but Sam Howell's development has been outstanding this season.
A crease for Javonte Williams, his 9th touch. He already has 4 touchdowns. And some words on the sideline for a Duke player.
Yeah, Roy, we've talked a lot about Sam Howell's development, and we knew that would be critical for Mac Brown's program to take the next step as we have a Duke player injured and stays on the ground. I think that's Tony Davis, a backup corner.
2nd and 7 coming up as Rocky Shelton remains down.
I really appreciate that Patrick Price on my insurance, Jake from State
For Stadium this afternoon, COVID-19 protocols. And Carolina leading Duke. Sam Howell back on the playing surface here at Brooks Field. 49-17. Kelly Stauffer, Alex Chappell, Roy Philpott. Howell back to the air and flushed out. He'll gain a couple. The tackle by Ben Fry. Sam Howell and his development. We mentioned in the first half, Kelly, that Phil Longo touched base with Kurt Warner extensively during the offseason, kind of going through that checklist. What have you seen today and what have you seen this year from him, indicating he's taking that next step.
Well, one of the things that Kurt Warner shared with Phil Longo, who shared it with Sam Howell, was the term intelligently aggressive.
Another first down. That's what they've been today, I would argue, as Williams picks up the first down yardage.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've seen more and more out of Sam. When Howell gets into trouble, it's because he's competitive when he actually should just give up on the play. And that's a lot of times the last lesson that quarterbacks learn, is when you have to say enough is enough and just line up and play the next down.
Pressure, and Howell's going to be sacked for the first time. Mosi got there first, number 35. And a big play for the Duke defense for the first time this afternoon.
And the reason this happened is Duke was able to force Howell to hold the football. Sam has been getting rid of the football in the blink of an eye. And that time it was the RPO again, the run pass option with zone inside or slant outside, and it was covered, and it was probably a questionable decision. Sam should have probably given that ball up in the run game if it wasn't a designed keep.
After a loss of 6, Williams will get that yardage back and a lot more. Javonte Williams eludes a couple of defenders and shoved out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Shaka Hayward prevented the first down.
But Roy, you talked about Sam Howell's development, and we talked about those areas. Getting the ball to the running back in the pass game, the importance of that is it replaces Sam Howell needing to hold the football when his first and second receivers aren't open down the field. And then it was more of a strength and conditioning thing, improve the hip mobility and flexibility. And we've seen him more mobile this year than last.
On 3rd down, another first down for Carolina. Dazz Newsome twists and turns. And think about what Phil Longo told us when we asked him the conversations with Kurt Warner and relating that to Sam Howell. He said, you know what Kurt said, if we have something, take it. If not, we check it down. And that wasn't necessarily a check down, but we've seen Sam Howell, to his running backs today, be very effective in that department, not only today, but this season. Carter picks up 2 after the quick stop.
And I think that's an indication of how much a quarterback is developing when you can go through your progressions in an uninterrupted manner and then be willing, because there has to be a willingness to get the ball to your running backs in check down situations, because we all as quarterbacks want to grip it and rip it down the field, but many times the decision is check it down and extend drives.
Carter tripped up, should have a first down. Marquise Waters stopped a bigger gain. You look at Howell's numbers and compare him to some of the other great quarterbacks around the country, including down Interstate 85 in Clemson, South Carolina. His numbers stack up through his first 19 starts very favorably versus one of the all-time greats to play in this conference. Take a look.
Yeah, check those numbers out. I mean, Sam compares favorably to Trevor, and they're different types of guys playing in completely different types of offenses and systems. And Sam Howell isn't a 6'6" guy like Trevor, but Sam is a Drew Brees type of body type. And that's actually how he plays the game. So you have to be able to get rid of the football, trigger it, don't take pressure, and make good decisions, as we see Sam get out of the pocket right here.
Oh, and he throws an interception. It was picked off by Duke. Michael Carter picks off Sam Howell. Tried to buy a little extra time, and the Blue Devils able to get the football back. The pressure was applied by Chris Rump, one of the few times we've called his name today.
And just on time, Sam makes his first bad decision of the day. Outside the pocket, you had to leave because of pressure. Keep your wits about you and make a good decision. This is where Sam still has some improvement to make. There are 2 reasons for getting outside the pocket that we've talked about. You go through your progression, and it's simply time to leave. And then sometimes pressure forces you out, and as a quarterback, you can lose your mind a little bit. You don't stay calm. It leads to a bad decision, as we saw to Sam right there.
Well, the only time this North Carolina offense has been stopped in the last 2 weeks. End of the first half against Virginia. And that turnover there. No punts so far, as Jackson will gain 3 yards. He was stopped by Chasserat. 49-17, halfway through our third quarter. North Carolina in its 2 losses nearly came back from 20-plus point deficits at Florida State and at Virginia. Different story today as Duke tries to do the same thing. Chase Bryce. That one was almost intercepted. Patrice Renee broke it up.
You know, and conversely, when Duke has the football and you're talking about Chase Bryce, you wonder what Chase is going to be like in another couple of years with David Cutcliffe, who has a history of developing quarterbacks. And he'll eliminate plays like this. Throwing late and inside to an outside receiver typically doesn't end well for a quarterback. And that was almost a pick 6 right there.
Duke will empty the backfield on 3rd and 7. Bryce across the middle has first down yardage. Darrell Harding makes one man miss and is upended around the 46-yard line. So a big play. Renee and Surratt stopped him. The Duke drive continues.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 51, contacted in the area. 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. First down.
And Raymond Vohasek, Kelly, will add 15 more yards to that big pitch and catch. It's a gain of 43 total.
And Vohasek is number 51 in the middle, and it's not really late, but it's low. So you can't go low on a quarterback that's throwing the football, as we saw Vohasek do right there.
Well, a touchdown on this possession would make things a bit more interesting. The Carolina offense certainly has something to say about that. Pressure off the edge from the backside, and Jackson dropped it as we check in again with the studio and Zubin Mehenti.
Roy, thank you. Now for your Capital One fan vote update, we'll take you to Bloomington. Michigan's Joe Milton. You thought the heat was on Harbaugh after that loss last week. They dropped this one. It's going to get worse. They're creeping closer. Back to you.
Interesting developments in the Big Ten today. Duke has it 2nd and 10 in Durham here at Wallace Wade Stadium. It's that time of year where you feel like weird things are going to happen, perhaps later tonight in Eugene or perhaps in South Bend, Indiana. 3rd down as Bryce was incomplete. The pressure from Tamon Fox and Chris Collins. Blue Devils 4 of 9 on 3rd down. And probably in 4-down territory at this late hour in the 3rd quarter. Empty backfield for Bryce. Surveys and throws. And the pass is dropped. Jared Gardner was open and probably hauls that one in on a normal afternoon.
Yeah, and Gardner had man-to-man coverage the middle of the field, and Gardner is the fastest player probably on Duke's team, certainly the fastest wide receiver. That's exactly where Chase Bryce should go. Did a great job in the empty set of diagnosing the coverage, going to the right guy, but Gardner simply couldn't finish the play.
Averages over 21 yards per catch. Probably would have had that and then some. And he reeled that one in. On 4th down, Duke's going to go for it. Bryce off the back foot, has his tight end, and that's going to be well short of the line get to gain as Jake Marweedy was stopped dead in his tracks by Surratt and Cam Kelly.
And a good job defensively by North Carolina. Just the down and distance situational football. You know it's 4th and 10. A tight end hooks 5 yards short of the line to gain. Force the throw underneath and then tackle well. And Duke ends up turning the ball over.
So off the interception by Michael Carter against Sam Howell. Duke unable to capitalize. And Howell remains North Carolina's starting quarterback. 20 straight games now for Sam Howell with a touchdown pass. An inside give nets 2.
Now, Roy, that 3rd area of development for Sam Howell was Phil Longo wanted him to go next level in defensive recognition, and they spent a lot of time in Zoom calls talking about defenses and really watching defensive coverages in the NFL to try to move Sam Howell to that next level mentally at recognizing coverage.
It feels like this whole year has been conducted on Zoom for most of us, into double coverage. And Newsome unable to corral it. You see the three areas that were cited for Sam during the offseason and the pandemic. Improved really in all facets of the game.
Downfield, offense, number 75. The penalties decline. Third down.
And Roy, Phil Longo told us that Sam's the type of guy that when you emphasize something, typically he gets it. Those three areas were highlighted after last season and then worked on through a spring football season that didn't exist, and then a summer strength and conditioning that didn't exist either, and then it was a bunch of Zoom calls, and Sam shows up and is playing well in all three of those areas.
Off the pump fake, backwards pass. Williams has it. And let's see if we see something out of North Carolina we haven't seen in about 2 games, and that's a punt.
Fourth and 2 has been their wheelhouse today. They may punt this one away just to give the punter a little work.
I mean, Ben Kiernan is wondering what the heck happened to this season. Sophomore out of Dublin, Ireland, comes across the pond, expects to play a little American football.
He wasn't told they don't use the punter in Chapel Hill.
Right. Moved to Ireland, or moved from Ireland to Raleigh back in 2014, 6 years ago. Robertson makes a man miss and upended after a short gain. Flag on the field as well. Yeah, knocked the rust off the leg, talking to his head coach. Hey, remember me, Mac? I'm here.
And Mac says, I was wondering where you had gone. Thought you might have flown back to your native Ireland.
I think Kiernan had a couple of words to say after getting this punt off. He was so excited.
There's 2 fouls on the play. 1 live ball, 1 dead ball. During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 16, receiving team. That penalty would be enforced half the distance. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 96, receiving team. That penalty will also be enforced. That is number 96 first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game.
How about the punter taking on Chris Rumpf? Look at that.
Yeah. In drawing the penalty, the first time you've been used in about 3.5 months, and you go out there and jaw a little bit and get a couple of flags thrown. Unbelievable.
He'll dap it up on the sidelines. His team comfortably in front with 5:01 to play in our third quarter. It's a close game a year ago, 20-17 over at Kenan Stadium, about 10 miles from Duke's campus. Came down to the final play. This year, it has not. So after all of that, Chris Rumpf will give his side of the story on the sideline. And the Blue Devils will get back to work. And a new signal caller now for Duke. It's Gunnar Holmberg, who perhaps gives his offense a little bit more bang for the buck on the ground. Power set on first down, and the zone read goes to Durant. We'll send you back to the studio. Here's Zubin.
Roy, thank you very much. You guys just had a laughter-filled moment there. It's turning into a laugher, believe it or not, between Michigan and Indiana. Penix Jr. just continues to be great. And the hook up here, putting the Hoosiers on the doorstep where they're about to cash in. And dare I say, the route is on in Bloomington, fellas.
How about the Hoosiers getting the job done? And they're going to start 3-0 for the first time in the Big Ten in forever if that score holds up, and it looked like it will. Looks like it will, rather, in Bloomington. But an amazing job in resurrecting that program, as you see Holmberg, a sophomore from Wake Forest, North Carolina. What's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh? You lose to Sparty, who's getting blown out by Iowa on the road today, and then you back that up with a loss at Indiana, and perhaps a thumping
Yeah, Roy, to your last point, it isn't just that you're losing to Indiana, but you're getting taken out to the woodshed by Indiana. So the hot seat under Harbaugh certainly is going to be turned up. It was already there because it doesn't seem like Jim Harbaugh can beat the rivals in that conference, but getting taken out to the dry cleaning by Indiana is pretty amazing.
Holmberg rolls it out, throws a pass. That was incomplete. A lot happening there on the near sideline. As Damon Philyaw-Johnson is the intended target on 2nd and 12, and they're going to talk things over.
They're rolling on the field. Incomplete pass. 3rd down. Rolling on the field is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under further review.
So Rusty Acree, our replay official, will have another look, and that was actually Calhoun with the tiptoe. And did he maintain possession and complete the process, sailing out of bounds? It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Toe down. Hard to tell if the ball is moving. It looks like it was as he tried to sandwich a couple of legs around it.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. It's not only that toe down in bounds. You got to get a body part down, but then it's maintaining control in this case as he goes to the ground. You know, that's the performing the act common to the game that differs whether a receiver is going to immediately go to the ground or is going to become a runner with the football. So it was the left toe down, and does he maintain possession, Calhoun, to the ground?
Well, we thought a touchdown pass to Dazz Newsome would be overturned earlier in this quarter. It was not when the ball clearly hit the turf. Not sure I see enough there to overturn the call on the field. Indisputable video evidence.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 3rd down.
So we're batting 500 today, Kelly, here in the first weekend in November.
No, we're not. We're batting 1,000, and someone was wrong on the first one, and it wasn't you and it wasn't me.
I like your take on it better than mine, and Coach Cutcliffe would as well. So 3rd and 12, Gunnar Holmberg. 3 of 4 passing this season, replacing Chase Bryce. Chase and Coach Cutcliffe told us this week there's a lot of work to do in the offseason. Duke's going to be backed up 5 more yards.
False start. Offense. Number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Hamilton the guilty party. And that's something to remember if you're a fan of the Blue Devils. Chase Bryce had high expectations, committed to the program back in February. But you really didn't get an offseason with David Cutcliffe, which is pretty important for a guy that knows how to coach up quarterbacks. On the draw, Mataeo Durant to the edge, and on 3rd and 17 we'll have a Duke first down. Tackled right at the line to gain. Let's see where they mark it. And they're going to back up a half yard, and it's been that kind of day for Duke.
I was going to say the same thing. Just when you think you pick up 3rd and 17 by half a yard, apparently all the votes weren't in, and you miss it by half a yard as of now.
Oh, my. Let's see if they want to send that to the replay booth.
Timeout. Duke. Their first timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Well, trailing big, you wonder if there's much left to lose. I still think that Durant passed the line to gain as he was being tackled, Kelly.
Prior to the timeout, we were notified that the previous play is under further review.
And I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so we're 2 for 2, and the booth is 1 out of 2. And I think this is going to be overturned. I think you're exactly right. I think Durant had the line to gain by where the ball was when his knee went down to begin with.
Busy day for this veteran ACC officiating crew. Yellow line is not official. And as he comes down the ball, clearly
it was determined that the ball carrier made the line to gain. It will be 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line.
I like the quick call there.
Yeah, that's how replay should actually work. It goes from a bad spot on the field to the correct spot when the replay booth takes it over.
We were notified about the review prior to the timeout being called, so Duke will not be charged a timeout.
And Dwayne Haight also efficient in his explaining of said circumstances.
Yeah, the interpretation of that didn't cost David Cutcliffe a timeout is because Coach Cutcliffe was fixing to light up the officiating crew based on that spot.
Holmberg straight ahead. And a reminder, our next UFC fight night is today in Las Vegas. Thiago Santos, top-ranked light heavyweight contender, takes on Glover Teixeira, the number 3 contender, in what should be a slugfest main event. Prelims start at 7 Eastern on ESPN Plus, with the main card at 10 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus in English and Spanish. To get ESPN Plus, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. As Holmberg close to another Blue Devil first down after a gain of 6 and the tackle by Kelly.
And Gunnar Holmberg actually does add a hat in the run game from the dual threat quarterback position. We actually thought there might be more of an extensive package earlier in the game when it would have made a difference with Holmberg coming in and actually running a little bit of this.
You think back to North Carolina's 2 setbacks. Quarterback run game was critical in both of those upsets. Flag on the field for the first down grab by Jalen Calhoun, and we'll check the penalty.
Holding, offense, number 78, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
It's Casey Holman.
Casey Holman, the left tackle, was actually falling down as he grabs the linebacker Gimmel that was shooting through that B gap, and it was the 2-point takedown. When that's an old school move right there. When you're falling down as a lineman, you grab a little bit of the other guy and you pull him to the ground and you hope nobody's watching.
Oops.
Oops is right.
5-man front for Carolina. Jackson gets it with a seam. And on 1st and 20, he's stopped by Chaz Surratt after a gain of 7.
Well, hindsight is 20/20, but you wonder if Holmberg could have made a little bit of difference as a changeup in that run game earlier in this one. It may not have mattered because of the way North Carolina's offense played. Nothing really matters, but you can see the difference in the rhythm of the run game when Holmberg's in there.
Play action. Holmberg's going to be lassoed down for the sack. It was Chris Collins, the sophomore from Richmond, Virginia. First sack of the season for number 17.
And this has the appearance of a run-pass option. But if indeed it's a run-pass option and you're going to throw it, you've made the decision to throw it quickly. If this is just play-action pass, then you still have to get rid of the football. But it was horrendously blocked up front. It was a miscommunication. Duke actually had 3 blockers to block 3 defenders, and they just didn't sort it out well.
3rd and 22. Pressure off the edge. Chaz Surratt got there and brings down Gunnar Holmberg. 4th down upcoming for the Blue Devils on what should be the final play of our 3rd quarter at Wallace Wade. And it is all Carolina on the road, on Tobacco Road.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Tar Heels in search for 5th win of the season, and they are on their way in Durham. Kelly Stauffer, Roy Philpott, and Alex Chappell as we take a look. The offensive line for the Tar Heels with pocket protection presented by Nationwide.
And Sam Howell has gotten better protection because he knows where his outlets are. He's doing a great job of getting the ball to running backs in the pass game that know how to finish, and then the trigger to get the ball out to receivers that can make contested plays. All of that adds up to really good protection with Sam Howell. And sometimes Sam's offensive line has had issues, but you can help them by working on those things right there. The running backs in the pass game, be able to get really good pocket protection, flexibility, conditioning, all of those things, and Sam has done a really good job of it this season.
Drew Jordan will drag down Javonte Williams, who has 4 touchdowns today.
Officials timeout for injury.
No gain on the play.
Timeout.
Brian Anderson banged up. Back after this. At 3:30 in the east, 6:30 in the west. On 2nd and 10, a first down pitch and catch. Dazz Newsome brought down by Jalen Alexander for a gain of 12.
And that play right there is something that Duke didn't have in this game, and Sam Howell has used extensively. The run pass option with a simple zone inside and a slant outside.
Tar Heels in search of getting back to their winning ways after the upset in Charlottesville last week. Javonte Williams picks up 4. And Kelly, I think it's important to note for those out there doubting Mack Brown and this program can improve to 12-8 in his 2nd season now, back in his 2nd stint in Chapel Hill. Carolina can still get to the ACC championship game. And essentially, if Notre Dame falls to Clemson tonight, the Tar Heels would be in control of their destiny because they still have Notre Dame and Miami on the schedule coming up in the next 45 days. So keep that in mind. And even as Javonte Williams nearly comes up with touchdown number 5, even if Notre Dame wins tonight against Clemson, plenty of paths to get the Tar Heels to Charlotte for the ACC championship tilt.
Officials timeout for injury. Timeout.
Shaka Hayward missed the tackle. Injured Blue Devil on the field as we step aside.
Today tastes like a home game, like a huddle.
Coach, when did you really feel like this was a rivalry going back to your time at Chapel Hill in the 1990s? And he said, well, it's pretty simple. I lost my first 2 games against Duke, and I found out really quick because nobody liked us and nobody liked me. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Alex Chappell. 13 to go. Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium. A little shake, a little bake. Michael Carter, and that's an easy touchdown. I mean, you watch Carolina offensively, at times it feels like they're playing a preseason game and against air.
Yeah, in the divide zone or slice zone where the tight end Walston comes across the formation, and then really it's about getting Carter the ball with a hat on a hat up front, and his speed typically finds a crease, as you saw on that play.
Atkins on for his 8th extra point. It is good. What's going on, Zubin Mehenti?
What's going on is you guys got a transfer quarterback that's struggling in Chase Bryce today. This transfer quarterback not struggling at all. Shane Buechele from Texas to SMU to the end zone. They're all over the Owls this afternoon. Roy, back to you.
Thank you, my friend. 56-17 our score. 13 minutes to go. Michael Carter, part of the 2-headed monster in the Carolina backfield. You tell me who you want to face. Javonte Williams over 12 yards per touch.
Well, you're going to be chasing either one of them before long. Typically, Williams is going to lay the wood to you, and then you have to try to chase him down in yards after contact. And then Michael Carter is a little bit more of a speed guy, but he can also pound you up inside also. We've seen him run in the tackle box quite effectively this entire season.
Both of those players, the 2 running backs for Carolina, have receiving touchdowns. I mean, the accolades are incredible for both guys. Javonte Williams was actually the valedictorian of his high school when he graduated from Rose Hill over in Wallace, North Carolina. You look at the damage he's inflicted today on the country along with his teammate Michael Carter. 2 good friends. Both average over the century mark per game on the ground. And Williams leads the country with 17 scores this season.
And I love that story that Mack Brown told us about Michael Carter. Coach Brown had to get on a player, a freshman, for not going to class, and he called Michael Carter up and just basically told him what the situation was. And he found out later that day that Carter was having lunch with said freshman, telling him to get his act together.
First catch for Jake Bobo, and a first down after a gain of 14.
Cameron Kelly with the tackle. Change to move. Ball now spotted at the 39-yard line.
So the backup quarterback, Gunnar Holmberg, remains on the field in a game that has been all North Carolina. So I'll ask you the question, too. We were talking during the break. Yeah, Clemson, Notre Dame tonight. Miami's going to be a factor in the ACC, and the Hurricanes won up at Carter Finley Stadium last night. Close game, 3-point contest against the Wolfpack. If you had to frame the race down the stretch, Clemson, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Miami, feels like it's those teams and kind of everybody else. But I would stack up the firepower in Chapel Hill. Just about anybody else. They can make things interesting even with Clemson, and they did last year.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point, as you see the standings right there. In Clemson, Notre Dame tonight. And then Miami and North Carolina really have it all ahead of them. Miami already took it on the chin to Clemson. North Carolina has Notre Dame and Miami later, and they don't have to play Clemson. And so you're exactly right. When you play North Carolina, the question is, can you keep up with their offense if their offense doesn't shoot themselves in the foot? That's really the question that you have to answer.
Egbuna with the pass breakup. It'll be fourth down for the Blue Devils.
And just matchup-wise, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know that Notre Dame can do that. I don't know that Notre Dame has the ability to score with North Carolina's offense, and Miami might have that ability to score. As we saw last night, you know, they were refusing to lose by just scoring one more point than the other guys.
Dazz Newsome drifts backwards. No fair catch. And tiptoes up to the 20. Well, this is why the Tar Heels control their own destiny, because Miami and Notre Dame remain on the schedule over the course of the next 30 days. You get the Fighting Irish at Kenan Stadium. You'll be on the road to sunny South Beach. But you win those two, you take care of business against Wake and let the chips fall where they may. And, of course, you're watching the game later tonight to see what happens between Clemson and the Golden Domers.
And, Roy, you were just talking about Wake Forest has won 4 games in a row. Don't sleep on that game in the midst of all this. That could be a spoiler matchup, no doubt. And it could be a trap game, as North Carolina potentially might look past a Wake Forest if they didn't live in their own dooryard, because they have Notre Dame the next week.
Jacoby Criswell looking for his first completion of his season. Pull it out on the zone read. And a former 4-star quarterback plunges ahead for a nice gain. On first down, well, the coaching staff really raved about number 6 for Carolina. He's the clear backup. And an athlete, good size. Phil Longo used the following words: really special. And anytime you hear a quarterback's coach and an OC suggest that about a quarterback, especially as young as Criswell is, that's a very good sign. They're very high on their entire quarterback room, with Chase Ruder as well as the third teamer.
And I think with Jacoby Criswell, it's the total package. I think there's more run ability there than Sam Howell does. The question is whether Criswell, as a true freshman, can be patient enough waiting for an opportunity to play, because Sam Howell has at least another year and a half in Chapel Hill before he would potentially go pro, if indeed that's the way it plays out. So Criswell, this day and age, has to ignore the transfer portal and just bide his time waiting to get an opportunity.
Second touch for Josh Henderson, stopped by Chris Rump. That'll bring up fourth down. And a quick 3 and out for the Duke defense. Trailing big.
Roy, you just mentioned the Duke defense. When we don't hear from Dumukeji and Rump, I haven't heard you call their name often today. And when you don't hear those two names, those speed guys from the edges that create the issues for the defense or for the offense, then Duke is in trouble defensively.
On the run, Robertson has it. It's a couple of Tar Heels miss. and stopped at the 49 after a punt of 38 and a return of 13.
Chris Fowler here, Dos Equis' new 4x4 commentator, and this is unprecedented. Watch him stand tall in the pocket. He's looking for a...
Today, Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Alex Chappell. That's a gain of 12. On the catch by Darryl Harding. So Duke on the move, now in plus territory. Gunnar Holmberg, backup quarterback, remains on the field. He's going to be sacked, and they'll lose a bunch. Kevin Hester, Chris Collins. So Kelly, I'm going to set you up with this. Given what we've seen of North Carolina's offense today, and now the last 5 games, locked in, they're in the zone, I would make the following statement. This team, I believe, is better equipped to play and handle Clemson than Notre Dame tonight because of the quarterback play and the explosive playmakers on the perimeter. I think Carolina could challenge Clemson more than Notre Dame can. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm crazy, as Harding hauls in another one.
I think you're wrong, and I think you're crazy. I think the fact of the matter is the way Notre Dame plays is going to make that game potentially closer because they're going to muddy it up a little bit. I think Notre Dame's offensive line is capable of doing that, a little bit of the run game. And the reason I don't think North Carolina matches up that well against Clemson is because Clemson has the horses to lock down that easy access passing game that we saw Sam Howell rely on today. And if you can lock down the easy, quick passing game, Brent Venables will light you up defensively. And I think the weakness right now of the offense, which we didn't see it much today, any weakness out of North Carolina, the weakness is communication on the line of scrimmage when extra bodies are coming after Sam Howell. That's what they've given up this year. Bronco Mendenhall's team did it last week. They got after Sam Howell in critical situations, and I think Clemson would do that in big numbers in a head-to-head matchup.
Interesting. Out in the flats, Panko ushered out, short of the first down line to gain. So 2nd down and 3 for Duke, driving. 17 on the board for the Blue Devils. Backup quarterback Gunnar Holmberg on the field is Panko. Couple of rushes, couple of receptions, and a touchdown. Holmberg will keep it. And it'll be 3rd down. No, it's interesting. It's North Carolina gave Clemson all it could handle last year. Came down to a 2-point conversion, and Mac Brown reiterated to us yesterday, if it came down to that same sequence, I would go for 2 again. We had a chance to beat the #1 team. We couldn't do it. Didn't want to take our chances in overtime. There's some confidence to be gleaned from a game like that. Notre Dame certainly better at the line of scrimmage and defensively. Jordan Waters the carry and stopped at the line of scrimmage.
That 2-point decision by Mac Brown a year ago, he talked us through that, and you really get insight into how Mac Brown thinks. He knew that his defense was gassed. They were -5 guys because of injury as that game played out, and he just knew they didn't have anything else in the tank. And on top of that, he's a guy that makes a decision and lives with it, and he's done that in that situation as we see that pass broken up on 4th and 2. But Mac Brown hasn't looked back since. I think that was a little bit of a pump your brakes moment for this program because I don't think they were quite that good, and they came up just a little bit short.
Well, Panko, it looks like, had the reception for a moment, then the ball popped out. It would have been good enough for a 1st down. Possession, and then you see it was knocked out by the Tar Heels.
Is a catch, which was then fumbled. It was 4th down fumble rule. The ball was recovered by somebody other than the one who fumbled it. The ball be placed where it was recovered. The result of the play is a 1st down.
Eugene Asante poked it loose for North Carolina. And McIntyre for Duke jumped on the fumble. So after all of that, The drive continues. So Maurice McIntyre, the redshirt sophomore out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, give the Blue Devils an opportunity for another score here. Jordan Waters, edge, touchdown. 56-23. 5 minutes and change remaining.
And as Duke ends up running that into the end zone, the question on that pass was still the same. This is just a quick toss outside. You set the edge. The tight end gets a nice block. Ball goes into the end zone. But I didn't know that the receiver Pankel had really transitioned adequately from a catcher of the football to a runner of the football, and to allow that to go from reception to fumble. So that was my question, but the replay booth didn't even stop play to take a further look at it.
Extra point is good, 56-24. We've got news to tell you about in Blacksburg right after this. On over there and check out the end of that one. And Virginia Tech on the verge of being ranked. Justin Fuente tries to work some more magic. And the Hokies could have something to say about the championship race in the Atlantic Coast Conference before it's all said and done. Kelly Stauffer, Roy Philpott, Alex Chappell back Wallace Wade Stadium, and North Carolina now just going to try to run this one out after a sensational performance by Sam Howell on the offense. And the backup quarterback remains on the field in Jacoby Criswell. (56-24). 5.5 to play. And Brooks has it. Ushered out after a gain of 14. British Brooks, the junior from Gastonia, North Carolina. Kelly. And at this point, you're just trying to get out of town as healthy as you can. Tar Heels never really threatened today, led by 21 after about 10 minutes. Big plays galore as Criswell will take it left side and stay in bounds, diving across the 30.
And Roy, we've talked about North Carolina's ability to potentially work their way into the ACC championship game, and I think it really has to do with the offense's ability to score points. We've already talked about that incessantly, but it's the defensive improvement that's needed at this point in time. Sometimes the kryptonite is giving up not only the run game, but the type of run game that they give up to dual threat quarterbacks, that add a hat in the run game type of philosophy that teams have been successful with. And the thing that does is it keeps the ball away from an offense that can score in a hurry. And so that's the one thing that North Carolina cannot afford down the stretch.
And second and short.
Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack. Delicious nachos topped with all your favorites. Only at Taco Bell.
And the victory bell getting set to make its appearance. This was something virtually every player and coach we talked with this week referenced. Battle for the bell. Duke had it 3 consecutive seasons before North Carolina ended that run last year. And now the Tar Heels going to maintain a 2-year possession with the thumping of their arch rival this year. British Brooks pick up the first down. And you look over the course of the last 10 years, it has changed hands on numerous occasions. Going back to 2016, Blue Devils pulled off the upset by 1. Held on to it after the 10-point win in Kenan Stadium. Followed by a touchdown advantage with Daniel Jones leading the charge until last year. Chaz Surratt saves the day on the jump pass with the interception at the goal line after the Tar Heels had turned it over. And a handoff. DJ Jones, freshman from Fayetteville. 3rd carry of the season and the 3rd carry of his young career.
Chase Surratt, we've talked about making that transition from the quarterback position to the linebacker position. When we started breaking down this game, that's the thing that jumped out to me. Not only Sam Howell is the quarterback story now, but a really good defender, played quarterback just a short time ago and actually went to the coaching staff and said, can I make this transition? And so Surratt has put on about 15 pounds and used his quarterback intel from the past to make him a anticipatory linebacker now that North Carolina is going to need to play big down the stretch.
Very normal transition, quarterback to linebacker. Here's a guy that really set all kinds of offensive records playing North Carolina high school football. You see his numbers in college. Counted for almost 230 touchdowns in the high school ranks. Set a total offense record.
Personal foul, late hit, number 45, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And now, Kelly, we think he's going to be a draftable commodity as a linebacker. And of course, his brother Sage played wide receiver at Wake Forest and was sensational in his own right.
And I've never had that situation before. The last game that you and I covered that involved North Carolina, Chaz literally was the quarterback taking snaps. And trust me, he looked like a linebacker slash tight end playing quarterback. He was really athletic and physical, suffered in the pass game to some extent, but he's made that transition rather well, to say the least.
90 seconds remaining. A resounding North Carolina victory. Don't forget, coming up later tonight, the Pac-12 season is underway. Finally, Stanford squaring off against number 12 Oregon, live from Autzen Stadium, a rivalry game that dates all the way back to 1900. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC, also on the ESPN app. As Oregon attempts to mount a run towards the college football playoff. North Carolina's got another signal caller on the field, Jace Reuter. Phil Longo told us gives ample depth in the quarterback room. He's just a sophomore from Kansas, and some much needed PT late in this rivalry victory. And he'll pick up a first down. Tar Heels probably have to snap it once more, and that'll be it. Well, Kelly, our first taste of the victory bell and this great rivalry, not only on the gridiron, but Dickie V led us off today. College basketball will be back in about 18 days. And these two fan bases will have more to chirp about at that juncture. Last carry, and that should do it. 56-24. It'll be the final score, and Mack Brown, his 10th consecutive win against the Duke Blue Devils. Carolina improves to 5-2. Duke falls to 2-6. It's been a great afternoon for college football. And the seniors will ride the victory bell right out of Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium.
Indeed.
Michael Carter. Outstanding performance for the senior from the Sunshine State. Sam Howell doing Sam Howell things once again. And the Tar Heels perhaps in control of their own destiny, awaiting tonight's Clemson-Notre Dame contest to try to get to Charlotte, the ACC championship game next month. That'll do it for us. For Alex Chappell down on the field, Kelly Stoffer, our analyst, our producer Greg Pike, director Jimmy Lee Starling. I'm Roy Philpott saying so long. Where once again our final score in Durham, 56-24. Carolina wins it.